Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to add a custom knife round to your CS2 server, assuming your server is running a competitive match. So just like on Faceit, when you have a knife round, you basically, the winning team basically decides which side they would want to play on. So we're going to be building the same plugin on our custom server. So fair warning, this video is not going to be for beginners. The tutorial is not going to be beginner friendly. I'm assuming you have basic C# knowledge because we're going to be using C#. And yeah, so let me just show you how it's going to look like in the end. Okay, if everything went well, then we should have knife in the first round, and there we go. We have the knife. Now let's go ahead and kill the bots. And now we're back in the game, and we have another warm-up. And now we can type in CT or T. So I'm going to go ahead and type in T. And as you can see, I have been swapped to the terrorist side, and the game has restarted. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is, you have this empty project. The code is on GitHub. Link is given in the description. You can just clone it. You will have this single function. You may not have this function. I just added it afterwards. But yeah, so you will have this simple function which basically prints the message to the chat whenever a player is connected. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is keep track of the current match phase. So we're going to have multiple phases. We're going to have warm-up. We're going to have the knife round in which the players play with just a knife. And then after the knife round, we're going to have a warm-up period where players can choose which side they want to play on. Now, there's also one more thing. Only the leader can select which side the team will play on. Now, on Faceit, the leader is already predetermined because it happens during the creation of the lobby. But in here, we're going to choose the leader based on the number of kills. So, for example, if a player has most kills than any other players in the team with a knife, then he's going to be the leader of the team, and then he's going to decide which side his team will play on. So, first thing we have to do is create a new enum. We're going to do enum match phase. And let's have warm-up. And we're going to have knife round. Next phase, we're going to have side pick phase. Actually, let me just remove phase. And at last, we'll have the live phase. So this phase is going to be the first warm-up phase. And this one is going to be the knife round phase when the knife round is being played. This one is going to be the side pick phase when the player, when the leader has to decide which side they want to play on. And then at last, we'll have the actual match phase. So the next thing we have to do is also have a constant. We're going to create an integer, and let's call this side pick time. Let's give this 60. This is the time of the warm-up period for the side pick round. Basically, leaders will have 60 seconds to decide which side they want to play on. If they don't decide in the given time, in this time, then we'll basically keep the teams as is. So this is the time for that warm-up round. The next thing is we have to store our current phase, and to do that, we have to create match phase variable, and let's just call it current phase. And by default, we're going to set it to warm-up. And the next thing we have to do is create the controllers for the leaders. So we're going to have CSS player controller. And this one is going to be nullable. We can call this CT leader. And we're going to have the same for T leader. Basically, we're going to store the player controller references of the CT leader as well as the T leader. Next, we're going to define the team for the winner. So let's go ahead and create the CS team type of variable. Let's call it knife winner. And by default, let's set it to csteam.none. And other than that, we also need to have a dictionary. This is going to be of type ulong and integer, we will basically be keeping track of player kills, and we'll be keeping track of the kills by the ID of the player and the number of kills. So the ulong is going to be the player ID, the integer is going to be the number of kills. So let's just give it the name knife kills. Let's also initialize this. And the next thing we need is a Boolean knife round started. And by default, we can set it to false. So these are the only variables we're going to need. Now let's go ahead and create some functions. Now the first function we need is the on round announce warmup. This function is basically called when a warmup period begins. So let's go ahead and create the function public hook result on round announce warmup. And this one is gonna accept the event round announce warmup and game event info. We do have to return as well, so let's just tap that as well. And yeah, don't forget to add the game event handler attribute, because without this, the Counter-Strike Sharp library basically won't register this function as the event handler. So in here, we have to check if we have already started the knife round. So I'm going to go ahead and type if knife round started. And if it's false, what we're going to do is basically set the current phase to match phase dot warmup. So the reason we are resetting the current phase here is because whenever we want to trigger a warmup from the command line, let's say from the server console, we want to reset the current phase as well. But we don't want to do it if we are already in a knife round. I will explain why later. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is add the event listener for the on round start. Now, the reason we have to do that is because that is where we're going to set up the knife round. So let's go ahead and create a new event handler, public hook result on round start. This is going to accept event round start and game event info. Now in here, we have to check if we are in a knife round or if we are in any other phase. So let's go ahead and check our current phase. So if current phase is match phase dot knife round, we only want to process this if we are actually in the knife round. Otherwise, we don't want to do anything and we just want to return. So let's just add the return statement here, and let's add the setup knife round code in here. Setup knife round. So in the setup phase, what we can do is simply remove the weapons from all the players and give them a knife. So to get all the players, like the copilot suggested, you can just go ahead and assign a variable to players. And there's a clause called utilities, and it has a function called get players. This one simply returns a list of all the player controllers that are in the server. So we have all the players that are basically playing in the game. And then we can simply iterate over them. And then what we can do is simply call player.remove weapons. This is going to force remove all the weapons from them. And then after that, we're going to do player.give named item. And then let's just do it weapon knife. So this is going to remove all the weapons from every player. And then it's going to give them a knife. So they will only have the knife in the after the round starts, and it only happens in the knife round. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is create the start knife round function. So let's go ahead and create a new function. This is going to be a type of void because this is not a game event. So let's just call it start knife round. And in this function, we have to basically initialize all the variables. So let's go ahead and set the match phase, current phase to match phase dot match phase dot knife round, and then we are also going to do the knife kills dot clear. This is where we keep track of the knife kills of every player. Then we're also going to set the leaders to null. After that, we also do knife round started to true. This is really important because remember we are using this here to reset the current phase. If we don't set it here, then it's going to basically override our current phase after the knife round ends. And after this, we can also go ahead and server.print the chat all. Round has started, get ready to fire. I think that's fine for now. And the next thing is we have to execute two server commands, which are server.execute command. And using this function, you can basically execute any Counter-Strike to server command. It can be a convar, it can be a basic command or anything. So we're gonna do the mp give player c4, and we're gonna set this to 0. This will basically not give any t-sided players the c4. So so they're not gonna have any c4 in the knife round. We don't want them to have c4 in the knife round. And after this, we're just gonna do mp restart game 1. So this is just gonna restart the game. And yeah, this is all we need to do to start the knife round. And what we have to do next is to use this function. And we're going to use this in a new event handler, and we're going to call that on warmup end. Now, just like we have the on round announce warmup, we will also have public result on round warmup. Actually, it's on warmup end. So event warmup end and game event info. So this function basically is called when the warmup has ended. Now in this function, we simply have to check if we are currently in the warmup period. So we simply do if current phase is match phase dot warmup, and if it is warmup, then we simply go ahead and call the start knife round function. So this is gonna just go ahead and start the knife round. We also need to add an else statement, and let's also do else if current phase is equal match phase dot side pick, and in here we're gonna apply the chosen side. So we will implement this function later. For now, let's just focus on this one. So we are basically calling start knife round from the warmup end, and in the start knife round, we're basically stripping off the c4 and restarting the game. And that's all for the startup. Now the next thing we have to do is obviously keep track of the knife kills. So the best way to do that is to use the built-in event handler, which is also, let me actually put it here. I want to keep the event handlers at the top. So let's create a new game event handler. Let's create the hook result, and this one is going to be on player death. And this function is called every time a player in the game dies. So we're going to do the same signature, game event info. I really had this autopilot, copilot autocomplete. So let's go ahead and implement this. Let me also do the return statement here, just so we don't have this stupid error. Okay, so the first thing we need to check here is to make sure that we are in the knife round and not in any other phase. And we can do that simply by running if current phase is equal match phase dot knife round. And then we create a new code block in here, and this is where we basically keep track of the knife kills. So the first thing we need is to get the attacker. We're really getting the autocomplete here, but I'm just going to type it because it might be a bit off. So let's just define the attacker, and we can get the attacker by simply using the event dot attacker, and this is going to give us the player controller of whoever killed the player that's currently dying. We also need to get the dying player, and let's call this victim, and let's do the event dot event, and this is going to be user ID actually, not victim. So the user ID from the event is the actual victim, the player who's dying, and the attacker is also in it. Now there's one more thing, which is we also need to make sure that none of these are null or invalid. So let's go ahead and make sure if attacker is null or attacker is valid is false, then we simply return. And we do the same for sure the victim is not null. We do the same thing for victim as well. So we can just use the autocomplete here. So we are basically checking if victim is null or if it's invalid by checking if is valid is set to false, and then we just return from this function. The next thing we need to do is increment the knife kill count of the current attacker. To do that, we can simply do knife kills dot try get value, and then we can pass in the attacker's Steam ID. This is ulong, which is why we use the ulong in the knife kills dictionary. And then we can set the output variable to current kills. And in the next line, we can simply do knife kills, the attacker, Steam ID, and then we can simply increment it like this. That's all we need to do in the on player death, and this is going to keep track of the knife kills of the player. So the next thing we need to do now is to add the new event handler for round ending, which will be executed when the round actually ends. So let's go ahead and create a new event handler. I'm going to create game event handler, public hook result, and this one is going to be on round end, and you can pass in event round end, event, game event info, game event info. Now in here we can simply check our current phase, and then if we are in the any other phase than the knife round, then we simply return. So let's add a check here. If current phase is not equal match phase or knife round, then we simply return hook result dot continue. However, if we are in the knife round, then we decide who the winner is basically. But first, let's just add the return statement here, because it's kind of annoying to have the red squiggly marks on the code. Now, the first thing we need to do is get the winner, and we can easily do that by using the at event.winner. Now, you will see that this is an integer, so we have to cast it to the CS team. We can easily do it like this. So this is going to be converted into the actual team. Now, the next thing we have to do is make sure the round is not ending in a draw. And this can be done by simply checking if winner is not equal csteam.counterterrorist and winner is not equal csteam.terrorist. So if it's neither of those teams, then we are in a draw. And in this case, we can simply restart the knife round. So let's go ahead and we can also call the start knife round in here again, and let's do return hook result dot continue, so we can simply get out of this function. Now, if we're not in the draw, then we need to set the winner, which is knife winner on the class, and we can set it to the local variable winner. And the next thing we need to do is also update the current phase. This is going to be now match phase dot side pick, because after the knife round has ended, we are going to be in the warm up, that which is when the players, the leaders, will be able to pick a side. So after setting the current phase, we now have to pick our leaders and also prompt them to basically type which side they want to pick on. So let's go ahead and create separate functions for those. I'm going to create a new function for pick leader. So let's go ahead and type in pick leaders. And let's also create another function. This one is going to return CS player controller and also nullable. So this is going to return get top player of the specified team. We also have to add the CS team here. So this function is basically going to return the player controller that has the most kills of the specified team. And we can do that easily using the LinkU extensions. If you're not familiar with LinkU, you should go ahead and learn it, because it's really helpful, and it just allows us to quickly filter out values from collections and so on. So let's go ahead and get all the players. So players, utilities.get players. Then we are also gonna have a sorted list of players. So let's just make sure we have valid players. So I'm gonna do players dot where, and this is where we're gonna add the filters. So the first filter is gonna be to make sure that the player controller is valid, and another one is gonna be to make sure that it's not a bot. So we can do is bot is false, and the third one is gonna be p.team is equal the team. So what we're doing here is simply filtering this list of players. We are checking if they're valid, if they're not a bot, and that the team matches whatever team we pass on to this function. So after we have valid players, we also make sure that we have more than 0. We don't have 0. If we have 0, then we can just simply return null. And if we have more than 0, then we also have to sort the valid players based on their kills as well. So the simplest way to do that is to simply do valid players, and we can do knife kills dot get value or default, and then we're going to pass in the Steam ID. So this function is basically going to filter all the players that do not have any kills in the knife kills dictionary. So the next thing we have to do is also order them by descending, because the valid players collection is going to have players in the mixed numbers, in the mixed order. So we have to like sort them into the descending order by the number of kills, and we can simply do that by order by descending. And in here we have to pass in the function as well, and then we can use the key. The key is the actual this is going to result in the key, which is the number of kills. So key here means the actual number of kills, and this comes from the group by function, by the way. After that, we can simply type in first and then to list. The reason we're doing to list here is because both the first and order by descending, they all return a collection, and we have to convert it into a list. Now we also have to pick the first one from this list. So what we can do is simply return sorted 0. So to recap, we are getting the list of all the players. We are filtering all the valid players which belongs to the specified team. Then we're making sure that we have more than 0 players. And then we are sorting them by the number of kills. We are also filtering out players who have 0 kills. Then we are also ordering them by descending based on the number of kills. And then we are picking the first item. So this is going to be the player with the highest kills in the team. So now we can use this function in this pick leaders function. So let's go ahead and assign the pick leaders. Let's go ahead and assign the CT leader. Let's set this to get top player and csteam.counterterrorist. And then let's do the same for T leader, get top player, csteam.terrorist. Now after here, we can simply print to the console if you want. I did it in the original video, so you can also do it, and we can simply. So this is all we had to do for the pick leaders function. Now we have to use this in the on round end. So let's go ahead and call this here in the pick leaders. And the next thing we need to do is basically enter the side picking mode, which means we have to prompt the players to choose a side. So let's go ahead and add a new function for that because we might want to add more stuff into it. So enter side picking mode. Now in here, we simply have to execute 3 commands on the server. The first one is going to be mp warmup time, and this one can be side pick time. So this is this is going to set the warm-up time to the amount of the seconds that we set in the side pick time variable. So by default, it's going to be 60. You can change it if you want. And after that, we have to also start the warm-up. So let's do server.execute command, mp warm-up start. So this is going to start the new warm-up, and it's going to be off this time. After that, we also have to enable the C4. Remember, we disabled the C4 earlier, so we have to enable it back. So let's also execute the same command that we used to disable the C4, and we're going to pass in 1 this time. So this will enable the C4 again. Let's also call this function in here, enter side picking mode, and I think that's it. Yeah. So the next thing we have to do in the on round end as well is to make sure that we do have a leader and we are not just playing without the leader. Because remember, the pick leaders may not be able to pick a leader. So in case the player has left or something else. So let's go ahead and copy a command from, or copy some code from here. Where was it? Okay, let's just write it. So let's create a leader here, and we're gonna check who the knife winner is. So if the knife winner is CS team.counterterrorist, then we're gonna set the leader to CT leader. Otherwise, we're gonna set it to T leader. So this variable now is gonna be whichever team won, and it's gonna be the top player of that winning team. And after that, we can just make sure that leader is not null. Actually, we can just do it inverse. We can check if leader dot is valid is false or null, and then if it is, then we can simply do server dot print chat all. Let's do no leader was selected, staying on current sites. And in here, we simply have to keep the current sites. We don't have to change the teams. So keep sites. And in here, we simply have to print in another message. And here we're going to do format string. And we already have the autocomplete. So player name is now the team leader. Actually, this is not what we want. So player name has to choose which side to stay on. Type stay, swap, CT or T to choose your side. So this is going to be prompting our leader to type the command to select your team. Okay, so the next thing we have to do now is to listen to the chat commands when users will type this command. So we need to be able to detect those commands and respect their selection, if they want to play on CT or if they want to stay, or So let's go ahead and add a new event handler, and this one is going to be of type on chat on player chat, and this will be event player chat at event game event info. So this function, like the name suggests, is basically called every time there's a chat message in the game. Let's also return early. So here we have to decide. Here we have to simply process the chat message from the leader. So the first thing we have to do is make sure that we are in the side picking mode. So if we are not in the front face side pick, if we are not in the side pick mode, we simply return, because we don't want these commands to work if we are not in the side picking phase. After that, we have to get the leader, which will be the same. Actually, let me just go ahead and copy this command. Where's it? I think it was in the on round end. Yeah, let me just copy this one. Actually, let's just copy these. So we can go ahead and paste it here. So we are getting the leader again of whoever won. So if counter-terrorist won, we're going to set it to the CT leader. Otherwise, it's going to be the T leader. We're also checking if it's valid or not. The next thing we have to make sure is that the sender must be the winner or leader. So to do that, we have to get the message sender. So let's do message sender utilities.get player from user ID. The reason we are doing that is because in the event we have the numeric user ID again. And then now we have the message sender. Let's also make sure that it's valid. If it's not valid, we're simply going to continue. And then we check if it's the leader. So let's just do if message sender.steam ID is not equal leader.steam ID, then we also return. So if it's not the leader, we are simply exiting out of this function. And if it's the leader, then we're simply going to go ahead and process their text message. So the text message is going to be event.text, and we can also trim it and set it to lowercase, so to make it easier for us to compare. We are also going to remove the symbols from the text. So let's just go ahead and do text equal text dot replace. It's nothing. So what this is going to do is simply remove the dot and exclamation mark from the text message. Now we can simply process the text message. So the way we can do that is by creating a boolean, and we're going to use the new switch assign text, which is text switch and then brackets, and in here we have to simply type in the values and then assign them the return value. So for example, if you want to assign the swap the true value, this means when the player types in, this means when the text is swap, then this variable is going to be true, and if it's stay, then it's going to be false, and if it's CT, then what we have to do is check who the knife winner is. And if the knife winner is counter terrorist, then we don't do the swap. Otherwise, we do the swap, and then we do the reverse for the decided leader. So if the knife winner is CS team.counterterrorist, then we do true, otherwise we do false. So what this is going to do is simply, let's also add the default. Actually, let's set the default to null, and let's make it nullable as well. So what's happening here is we're simply setting this variable should swap, and we are setting it based on whether the message was swap, stay, or if it was CT from the knife winner, or if it was T from the knife winner. So this is going to be finally deciding whether we should change the current teams or not. So after this, the last thing we have to do is just call and apply team side, and then we have to pass should swap dot value. Now we're going to have to create this function as well. The reason I'm creating a different function for this as well is because we're going to have to use it in some other place. If you remember, it's up there. So let's go ahead and create this function as well. Let's do void apply team side should swap, and then give it the parameter should swap. Now the way this function is going to work is very simple. We simply check if should swap, and if we do, then we simply execute a server command called mp swap teams1. This server command simply changes the teams. It puts the CT players onto the T side and T players onto the CT side. And in the else command, in the else block, we can simply do nothing. I mean, we don't have to do anything here. We can just print. And after that, we simply have to also apply the current phase to match phase.live. Now we are in the live phase, and then what we have to do is restart the game. So for that, we have server.execute command, mp warmup end. Remember, we are in the warmup. And then we do server.execute command, mp give player C4 just so we have C4 enabled. I know we said this earlier as well, but I'm just setting it again just to make sure. The third command is going to be execute command. It's going to be mp restart game 1. This is going to restart the whole game. Now we can do the chat messages here as well. So we can just do teams list on their current sides. So we have this here, and then let's also make sure that we are using this here as well. So we do like team side and false. The reason we are using it here is because the warm-up has ended, and the leader has not selected their side to play on. So this happens in case when the leader is just AFK or they haven't selected any team. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it. We should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and build the plugin and see if this works. So the plugin has been built. Let's make sure it has also reloaded, and it did. And now I'm gonna go to the community servers, connect. and fingers crossed. Okay, I'm falling into the void. I do have to restart the game into the warm-up. So let's do the warm-up start.
Move it,
Now
son.
we have to wait for the warm-up to end. Okay, if everything went well, then we should have knife in the first round, and there we go. We have the knife. Now
You're
let's
gonna
go
wish they
ahead
were
and
never born.
kill the bots. And now we're back in the game, and we have another warm-up. And now we can type in CT or T. So I'm going to go ahead and type in T. And as you can see, I have been swapped to the terrorist side,
No
and
more
the game has
talking. Now we
restarted.
fight.
So this is how you can easily add the knife rounds into your game. And you can also make it so it's not just a knife round, you can also add any of the fun rounds. For example, my favorite one is having a decoy round where every player has 1% health, and you give them decoys and they basically just throw at each other. I don't know, it's just kind of funny. So you can also do that as well. And yeah, this is it for this video. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be posting more plugin development videos. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.